What's up, everyone? We are here with showrunner Eric Kripke for The Boys Season 2, which is dropping on Amazon Prime Video on September 4th. Why are we opting for the week-to-week after the first 3 episodes as opposed to just dropping them all at once?
We sort of felt in Season 1 that there was so much insanity and there was so much kind of crazy moments that when it dropped, I think people had like one really intense weekend of talking about some of them, but a lot of them kind of fell in the cracks. We just wanted to slow the roll of it a little bit and give people like a little more time to absorb all the madness every week.
During the panel, we saw this awesome scene with the Deep and the boys on the boat, and they're crashing through the whale. I mean, that scene is just completely bonkers, over the top. It was like more over the top than anything we saw in Season 1. Can you kind of break that scene down a little bit for us? Did that come from the comic books, or is that something that just came from your head?
It wasn't my head. It was Craig Rosenberg, one of our really sick writers who brought you such hits as Dolphin Through the Windshield and Gilfingering. And he kind of takes it on himself to really pitch the gonzo crazy things. And he's got a couple of them in Season 2. And I think, honestly, he really was very specifically just like, I want to top the Dolphin. So we wrote it, but then we have to I have to produce it. Like, that's what's the crazy part to me. So I had to go to my production team and we sat down and I said, okay, so I need to have a motorboat crash into the side of a whale. And how do we pull that off? And Arv, who is like unflappably calm in everything he does, just kind of sits there, thinks about it. And he says, well, we're just going to have to build that whale practically.
Also, I want to know about the Deep. Speaking of the Deep, because he went through an interesting character transformation last season. You know, he was outcast. He was even assaulted in Sandusky. Somebody took advantage of him, you know, messing with his gills, and had to shave his head. So, like, how is his character transformed in Season 2? Where do we find him at the beginning of Season 2?
You know, he's really at rock bottom. And deservedly so. Like, he really is a piece of, you know, S, and has paid. I mean, for us, he's sort of the karmic punching bag. Like, he's going to pay for a long time for what he did to Starlight.
And I want to talk about working with Giancarlo Esposito this season. I know he's going to play a bigger role in Season 2. I think it's just interesting that you've worked with him on your series Revolution. So you had to work with him before, which is really cool. But he's just become such an iconic villain. How is his villain different from other villains he's played? Like, what is he bringing to his character in Season 2?
The thing that, I mean, first of all, he's an unbelievable actor. And, you know, Edgar is a capitalist through and through. And to me, he sort of is the incarnation of a corporation. And corporations are, by their nature, sociopathic. Of all the villains in the show, I mean, I think the biggest villain in the show is capitalism. So, and to me, Stan Edgar represents all of that.
And after watching the panel, you made a point to emphasize how much the show comments and plays off of what's going on in society. And you mentioned that this season is going to deal with, you know, issues of race and white supremacy and things like that. And I know you wrote this before, but does it weigh on you more now, like as a showrunner, because this is your baby kind of, and these big issues that are in society right now?
I mean, I feel a certain responsibility. I mean, look, I get that, you know, we're a superhero show, and I get that I'm pretty much a carny, you know, like it's my job to entertain people for an hour. But by the same respect, we have a show that is a metaphor for where authoritarianism and celebrity intersect.
Moving on back to the heroes themselves, or villains, whatever you want to call them. I'm curious about Black Noir. I think he was one of the most mysterious characters from Season 1. What is Black Noir to you? I mean, how are we going to learn more about him in Season 2? Just very curious.
I want to be clear, like we're going to see him a lot more. He has a lot more things to do in season 2 that are pretty great, and there are certainly more flashes of personality, and we learn a little bit more about him. But to me, the thing that makes noir is he's a complete cipher. I am very reluctant to reveal too much about that guy. That guy works best when he's a total mystery.
And I'm curious about Homelander. Is probably one of my favorite characters in season 1. I love that your superheroes, and the ones, of course, that Garth Ennis created, is like they're so there's there's nuance to them. They're not just all good and all bad. I love when we get to learn a little about Homelander's story. You see that there maybe was some abuse, or he had a rough childhood growing up, and then you take him to Vought and he has all these powers now and everything. And what would a guy with that kind of a story do with Superman like powers? But now that he's a dad, he has responsibilities. Like, are we going to see Daddy Homelander? Is he going to be different in season 2 at all, or affected by that?
He is actually, and spoiler alert, he's a really terrible father.
When you did Supernatural, when you first had that show going, you had a vision, an arc from season 1 to season 5. So I'm just curious if with The Boys, congratulations, by the way, on the 3rd season renewal, which is awesome. Do you have something in your head? Yeah. Do you have something in your head where like, I'd like to go to this season, or I need this much time to tell my story, or you just you're just playing it by ear?
You have a plan, but a plan is a strong word. I mean, even on Supernatural, it sort of became this infamous thing that grew into this like plan, as if I had like the beautiful mind wall of everything that was going to happen. I didn't. I never did. I had like a cocktail napkin sketch, or the way I put it is like a map, and you are driving from LA to New York, and you want to go through Chicago. And so that's that. And how you get there, you have no idea. To me, 5 years is a good round number for this show. I do have a sense of what the confrontations are building to mostly. But again, I now know enough not to make any hard guesses about that.
Well, that was a great chat with Eric Kripke, the showrunner for The Boys Season 2, which premieres on September 4th on Amazon Prime Video. Remember, that is the first 3 episodes. And then after that, additional episodes will air every Friday until the season finale. But stay tuned right here on IGN for more Comic-Con news.